to the I'm a Mom podcast. My name is Jenny Pan. Today, I hope that this is a universally relatable topic. I think it is for moms. It is mom guilt, and I have suffered from it from a very early point in time when I put my first baby into daycare, and I still feel mom guilt even as a stay-at-home mom. So I think this is something that a lot of moms feel, and I kind of want to just dive into it and just have an open conversation about it. And usually I like to go back to the core meaning of words to kind of look at, okay, what does this actually really mean? Is this really what I'm feeling? Is this what I'm seeing? Per the Oxford Dictionary, it says a feeling of having done wrong or failed in an obligation, or the fact of having committed a specified or implied offense or crime. So I think like the types of guilt that moms feel have a huge range. You know, it's like little guilt, big guilt, temporary guilt, and more long-term guilt. And so, like, for example, this is the stuff that I felt. I felt huge guilt for a very long time, sending my daughter to daycare 9 hours a day while I was working full time. I felt even worse when she got sick, and I knew that she was getting sick because she was in daycare and all the germs that she was being exposed to. And then I would, take time off to take care of her, only to send her back again. And it was just this never-ending vicious cycle for about 2 years. Another thing I felt guilty about, and this is like so random, but I don't know if some of you could relate to me, but I felt really guilty that I didn't have a beautiful nursery set up for my daughter before she was born. And of course, this is referring back to the first one. Like, when you're about to have a baby and you're pregnant, I think your whole social media algorithm kind of switches up to like advertising a whole lot of baby stuff, right? And I kept seeing these beautiful nurseries, other pregnant moms like painting, putting wallpaper up and molding and beautiful furniture that was like super expensive from Pottery Barn and this and that. And I felt so guilty because we were living in a 1-bedroom apartment at that time. We didn't even have an extra room to have a nursery. And I felt, I felt like I wasn't good enough. I felt like I was inadequate. I wasn't like other moms who had the time, the resources, the money to kind of provide that for my daughter. And yeah, made me feel really low. So anyway, another one was I felt really guilty for quite a long time. And this is guilt that I still feel for both my daughters, that I didn't breastfeed for long enough. I breastfed them both for about 2.5 months. And of course, those of you who have listened to episode number 2, I think, is when I talked about my birth story. And it was a hot mess with my first daughter. It was less of a hot mess with my second. But under different circumstances, I just could not continue breastfeeding. And so I still feel regret to that for both of them, and I feel bad. The fourth one, and I'll stop it here because the list could go on, is I felt guilty for not cooking meals for either of my girls or both of them from scratch. Again, I would see all these moms on Instagram or wherever, and they're just cooking up these, zucchini banana muffins, these, from scratch porridges, these super beautiful lunches and whatever for their kids. And I'm like, oh my gosh, they have it all together and I so don't. Like, I'm not cutting up an orange in the shape of a star, and I just wasn't doing any of that. And even now I think about it and I don't know what other kids' lunches look like, right? Because I'm not there. But I definitely don't want my daughter to feel like I didn't put any effort in, and I don't want her to feel like, wow, their moms are so much better than mine. Like, they got this food and it looks like, a 4 or 5-star restaurant dish type thing. So anyway, just to say, those are some of the examples of the mom guilt that I feel and have felt in the past. And honestly, I didn't, share that in detail with anybody a lot, but I had come across this one Instagram reel, and it is all credit to Claire Warren, that's her name, but her Instagram handle is My Kinda Mom. And I want to share it with everyone, especially the ones, especially those of you who are watching via YouTube. Let's just watch it together.
3 trays, so I'm just so tired. All set for another day of failure then. Can't wait. Come on.
Right, can you sit down? Breakfast is ready. Porridge again, is it?
Oh, they like it and they eat it.
Well, this woman on Instagram makes pancake portraits of her children, so
I've got time for that.
don't have time to make your kids happy. Wow. Right, come here, put your shoes on and stop messing about.
Wow, that didn't sound like gentle parenting.
I did ask gently, like 8 times.
Well, she's bound to end up in therapy now, or an abusive relationship. Probably both.
Oh, what have I done? Oh, you again. Where are the kids? They're fine, they're just watching some TV. Screen time. They just need 30 minutes. I guess it just comes down to what's more important, your emails or their happiness and development. Okay, I'll stop. Wow, so you're just not going to contribute to the family income at all? Lazy. I can't win. Hey, oh, shouldn't you be in bed? It's gone 10. But I just got the kids to sleep. Oh, you're going to be tired again. I have just a little bit of time. Okay, well, you're your own worst enemy. No, you're my worst enemy. No, wait. You are me. I'll see you in bed in a minute. We can run through everything you did wrong today. Awesome.
Yeah, so I'm super sure that a lot of you feel a lot of things like in common with her, and I felt so seen when I watched that video. I felt so seen, I felt so understood. I'm like, wow, I am not the only one. I'm not the only one talking to myself all day long. Like, why aren't you sleeping early? Because tomorrow you won't be ready for the kids. Have you got her lunch ready? And why does it look like this? Someone else might have a really grand lunch, and blah blah blah, and the list just keeps going. But I do want to mention that I noticed while I was writing down the things that I felt guilty about, that I don't know that I would feel the same level of guilt, or I would even be aware, right, of other kids' lunches or, what other moms are doing if I didn't pay attention to social media so much, or maybe if I wasn't exposed to what I had seen on social media. It's really hard to unsee like what you've already seen. So, for example, that nursery thing, would I have felt guilty if I didn't see any beautiful nurseries on Instagram? I don't know that I would have. I mean, I think in different cultures, people have different setups for their babies, right? Some cultures are very into co-sleeping. Some cultures it's not. Some people like sleep train their baby at as early as 2 months old, and some people don't. And I think that there is so much diversity and so much freedom in that, because you are the mom and your baby, and your baby is very different to other babies. So what I'm trying to say is, I think social media or the algorithm or whatever you're seeing kind of makes you think that that is the right way or that is the best way, but actually a lot of people don't live like that, and maybe that's not the norm for other cultures or other types of people and other people in different stages of life. Like if you don't have a lot of resources and you have a really small apartment, like I think that in that sense, social media can be a little bit toxic. But so I went through this phase of I would really be bitter and a little pissed whenever I saw these perfect homes, right, on Instagram. These moms, they have multiple kids, their house is beautiful. It's like seriously looks like a house coming out of Architectural Digest, and they look like they have a lot of money. And it's like, wow, what a perfect life. And there they are, just making blueberry pancakes out of scratch every morning, and doing everything perfectly. And you start thinking, wow, I am so inadequate. I'm not like that. But yes, there is that sense of maybe these things aren't realistic. And I think a lot of us know that a lot of things are staged, especially for larger influencers. But at the same time, I also think that some moms are truly good at some things, right? We all have our different strengths. Some moms are really good at cleaning. Some moms are really good at cooking. Some moms are very passionate about dressing their children in perfectly coordinated outfits from head to toe, and they're really good at doing their kids' hair. That is not me. I am different to those types of moms. I have a different set of strengths and weaknesses and different seasons as well. So yeah, that aside, I've kind of let it go in terms of, each to their own. All moms are doing their own thing, and who am I to judge? But at the same time, I really do believe, and I mentioned this in my first episode, that there is no such thing as the quote unquote perfect mom in terms of, clean house, amazing food, looks good all the time, has showered and puts on a full face of makeup every single day, is only a gentle parent, and their kids are wonderfully disciplined and just perfect from head to toe. Like the house is in mint condition, like all the dishes are always done, 0 screen time, like the 150 things that society and moms believe to be the best things. I just don't think that we can be all of that all at once and be able to do everything perfectly in an excellent way. I just think that if you claim to be that, or that is the image that you're trying to portray on social media or even in real life, like, yes, I have it all together, everything is perfect and I'm perfect and I'm so organized and everyone gets 8 to 10 hours of sleep in this household and we all make a lot of money and I have a full-time job as well and I also homeschool. Like, you're just one person. You're just one human being. Like, that is impossible. I think that it's impossible. I think it's fake. I think that it's unrealistic. And if someone says that they are all those things, they're probably lying. And if they're not lying, then they're machines. And I don't know what's worse. Like, do you want to be a machine? So I think that it's about seasons, right? Like a mother of newborns under the age of 12 months and really little children who are not even in school, that's a very different season to a mom who has all of their children in school, so they're gone for 6 hours a day. And that's different to a mom who has very much older children who are maybe, in college and out of the house and trying to live their own adult lives. That's very different. All of these stages, all of these seasons are very different. Boy moms have a different experience to moms who have only girls. Moms who have multiples have different experiences with moms who only have one. It's just so different. And I think we just have to give ourselves a bit of a break and give ourselves some grace, because in every season, your priorities are a little different. The priority of a mother who have kids outside of the home versus a mom who has really little ones in the house, it's so different. And for me right now, it's like I have little ones who just take everything out and just mess up the whole house every day. It's very, very hard for me to keep a completely clean and tidy home. Things are always in the wrong place. The floor has, today it was beetroot and turnip all over it. And that's just the way it is. That is my season. I have to accept that. And maybe if I was like obsessed with cleaning, then that's fine. No judgment for moms who love to clean. That is good for you. I do like to clean, but in this season, my priorities are different. And for me, my priorities are, okay, I want to make sure my kids are well fed, and I do want to pay attention to quality and the nutritious value of their food. So that's what I'm focused on. And because my energy is going into that and also spending like quality time with them because I'm at home now, that's like where my focus and my energy is going. It's not going towards making our house a beautiful home. I swear I have good taste, but my house doesn't look like it right now. The walls are all white. I haven't put any molding up, any trim work. I mean, the house is okay. It's not like exactly where I want it to be, but it'll get there when I have more time. Like right now, I have no time to do any of this DIY stuff. And so, I think in the beginning when I was like really a new mom, I couldn't accept that I couldn't do what I used to be able to do without a kid, because that was my standard of living, like clean a house, everything in order, and like, you know, putting up the decorations and types of furnishings that I want. But now, being a mom of little ones, I can't furnish the house in exactly what I want because it could be harmful, like sharp edges, not good for kids, marble or any like heavy, like really hard materials, not good for kids. So it's like, yeah, I have to consider all of that. And I think it's so encouraging to think of it as, you know what, this is just a season. It's a season, enjoy it for what it is, and then move on to the next. So I'm trying to just give it up and let it go in that sense, and just live in the season as it is, and not always want something else, and always look forward to, okay, what's the next thing? Because if I'm always looking for the next thing, then I'm not enjoying what I have right now. So a lot of the guilt that I've already mentioned, like, you know, the cooking thing, the not having a tidy house thing, those kinds of things didn't irritate me so much. It was kind of like a guilt that like came and then it passed. Like I didn't like think about it over and over again. But the guilt that I had that I really couldn't shake off was the whole daycare thing. And I think there was this moment where I have these podcasts that I absolutely love, and one of my favorite ones is Diary of a CEO, DOAC. One day there was a lady, and her name is Dr. Erica Komisar. Actually, she may not be a doctor, but she is, according to DOAC, a clinical social worker, psychoanalyst, and parent guidance expert with over 30 years of private practice experience, blah, 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 blah. I mean, she has appeared on a lot of different podcasts, and she has also been on the Lila Rose podcast and a ton of others. And she said a few things that like really, really made me angry, really, really made me feel guilty, inadequate, all of those things. And basically, if you have not heard her speak, she is quite controversial because of the things that she says. So in a nutshell, this is what she says. She preaches this everywhere. She basically says that daycare is bad for your baby. Bad with capital B. And she says that it's bad for your baby until they're at least 3. And what's even crazier is she says that for every year your baby is, basically that corresponds to like an hour of their ability to be apart from the mother or whoever is their primary caregiver. So if a baby is 1 year old, then that baby can spend an hour away from the mother. When they're 2, it's 2 hours, 3 hours, and so on. And to me, I was like, that is wild. So like, how do you expect a mom to work and have a job? And so basically she says, you shouldn't. It's not good. Like, go get a job that is flexible enough for you to be there for your child. And she basically says that daycare leads to behavioral issues and the rise in self-orientation, or basically narcissism, narcissistic behavior by these millennial parents, young new parents, is contributing to 1 in 5 children breaking down from mental illness. I mean, her interviews on DOAC, her interview on the Lila Rose podcast, they are like over an hour long. So there is a lot being talked about, but that was the point that kind of broke me. And in the beginning, I was in denial. I was like, this makes no sense. How does this make sense for people living in high cost of living places like we were? And we were in a very different financial position way back when we were first married versus where we are now. And so I was really like, how dare she say that? How dare she say that to me? How can she say that to other working mothers? But I just couldn't shake it off. And after thinking about it and listening to it again, I'm not a person who can reject facts. You know, if it's a fact, if it's been proven by studies and evidence, it is what it is, right? So I kind of had to really ask myself the question, like, why is it that I want to work so much? Why is it that I can't or don't want to be a stay-at-home mom? Or why is it that I don't want to pull back? And I really thought about these things. And back at that time, you know, like I told you in my first episode, my career meant a lot to me. It was a huge part of my identity. I didn't want to let it go. And that was the world that I only knew. And I didn't know a whole lot of stay-at-home moms in my circle. So I didn't really know what that world was. And I had all these misconstrued, these really bad impressions of stay-at-home moms that were untrue. Things like thinking that they were lazy, that they didn't make productive use of their time, that really I didn't know that kids really needed their mothers, especially at a young age. I didn't know that. And so all of this was new news to me. And I really don't think that you can force yourself to do something that you don't want to do. I don't know that that's beneficial for a lot of people, even to the child. Like, I think that if I did quit after listening to this podcast, you know, over a year ago, I don't know that I would have been happy. I don't think I would have been, and I don't know that I would have been a good mom to my kid at that time. I also think it's important to note that people have legitimate reasons for why they want to work. And there are financial constraints that people face a lot nowadays, especially in our generation. We're all young, we're just getting married or raising young families. It's not easy, and the cost of living is really high. And so I think we're all working hard and we all love our kids. And it's not that we're taking them to daycare because that's absolutely our wish. I think there are a lot of moms out there who may not want that, or maybe they want to do a bit of part-time, but corporate America was not made for that. If you're like a W-2 salary, like corporate worker, I just hardly see any part-time opportunities that pay well. I'm kind of preaching to myself, but even though I feel guilty and I do have some sense of regret that I had sent my daughter to daycare for so many hours, we were in a season of aggressive saving. We were in a season of trying to pay off debt. We were very early on in our marriage. That was the first 3 years of our marriage. And that was just the way that it was. And if we hadn't done that, then we wouldn't have been in the position that we are in today. We would not have been in the position where I could have quit my job for good. So I think it's just seasonal, right? And you do what you got to do. No mom is above another. We are all doing our best. And I don't think that moms sending their kid to daycare all the time, they have their own reasons. And I respect that. And I think just like it's not healthy for us to judge any other mom. I think I have come to a point where I have such a high respect for all moms, for all that they're doing, for all that they're sacrificing. And whether you're a corporate mom working all the time, or whether you're a stay-at-home mom, or anything in between, everyone is doing their thing. Everyone is trying their best. And that is the best that you can do, right? If you try your best, then how can you look back and feel guilty? How can you look back and feel regretful when that is you hitting your maximum capacity? So far, we've talked about what we feel guilty about, or what I feel guilty about, what other moms that I see on social media, like the reel that we just saw from Claire, mentions. But I also want to question, like, why do we feel guilty? And this is what I came up with. And I haven't thought too deeply about this, but like, let me know if you agree or you can relate. I think that we feel guilty because we think that whatever we're doing or what we're not doing is negatively affecting the future or like the well-being of our child. And I think that at the end goal, I would assume a lot of parents have, is we just want our children to be healthy, to be happy, to be successful, and to be good people. Like, I think that kind of sums up most of it, right? Like, you want them to be a kind human being. You want them to be successful in whatever they pursue in their career or whatever they're called to do. You want them to be happy. You want them to, and you want them to be healthy. And that's kind of like, we are trying our very best to put them on that path. And maybe we feel guilty about these little things and these big things because we feel like we're not contributing or we're hindering them from having all those things. That's my kind of explanation for it. But, just kind of looking back at that, like when we look at our own lives, is it really, like in my case, like my mom was also not able to fully breastfeed me for a long time. She quit at like 2 months or whatever. And, I definitely didn't have a nursery. I did not go to daycare, but that's because my mom had extended family. So my grandmas were the ones taking care of me when I was an infant, and all of that. But like, I think I turned out to be a decent human being. We think about what are the factors that affect our child's life as they grow and as they become adults, and whether they can attain all of these things. And it's more than what we do for them, right? It's like their environment plays a huge role in that, and there's like a million different factors in their environment that we cannot control. And then there's also genes. They are part me and part my husband, and that was obviously just set up from the start. And at the end of the day, I also think that faith plays a really big role. So I don't know what you believe in, but for us, we believe in God. And regardless of, even if they were in a horrible environment, and let's say they had really bad genes, but we have this faith that God can change anything, and God can change the trajectory of a person's life. And he definitely has for me, and he has for my husband. So I think there is so much space for faith being a parent, and even on this guilt journey. Also, this is an interesting thing that Erica Komisar talks about regarding the whole guilt thing, and I really actually found it not only interesting but a little bit encouraging. So let me share that with you as well.
So I don't believe that guilt is a bad feeling. I don't believe that guilt is a bad thing. Guilt is a sign that your ego is functioning. It's a sign that the part of your ego called the superego can identify something that feels right and wrong. So when you are guilty, it means you have internal conflict. It means two parts of you are struggling with each other. The part of you that wants to do whatever you want to do. I want to go out to work. I want to make money. I want to be free, and the other part of you that says, wait a second, but my baby needs me. Look at my vulnerable baby. Look how sad. Look at the distress that my absence is causing that baby. So if we don't feel guilt, then our species is lost. We're lost.
I think that's some food for thought, really worth chewing on, in terms of thinking about guilt as maybe it's not a bad thing. We have these internal struggles of what we think we should be doing versus what we are doing, what we want to do versus what we don't want to do, and all of these things. It's complicated, but I think that's really interesting. I think it's a healthy mind exercise, a healthy mental exercise, and I also wonder whether the mom guilt gets better over time as the kids get older, because a lot of the mom guilt that I hear about is really for moms with little kids, maybe not so much moms with older, like teens and 20-year-old plus kids. And maybe my assumption is maybe we feel more of the burden because our kids are so little, they are so vulnerable, they cannot really think for themselves, and they are so dependent at this age. Maybe because we are their universe and our decisions directly affect them so much that we feel more sensitive towards the guilt of not doing something or doing something for our little ones. So I do wonder. I think it's a complicated journey for sure. Maybe this mom guilt would never leave us. Maybe that's okay. Maybe it's not. I don't really know. But again, what I do know is that seasons come and go, guilt will come and go, and you're the only one who can truly free yourself from it by picking which ones you really want to deal with, which ones are really important to you and your family, which one is really affecting the kids and you, and resolving that to the best of your ability. That's it for today. Please, please, please share my podcast with any friends, any new moms, any pregnant moms, moms who are trying to get pregnant. Anyone who you think that this might be good for or useful, please send it over their way. I do have Instagram. It is at I'm a Mom Podcast, also a YouTube channel, and the podcast is available anywhere that you listen to podcasts. So Apple, Spotify, and all the rest. Have a wonderful day, and we will talk soon.